Hi, how's it going? This is a resident of Collinwood for YouTube. I'm here to do a Dark Shadows character retrospective. Nicholas Blair. And you might ask, who is Nicholas Blair? Well, Nicholas Blair is a warlock, played by actor Alan Humphrey Alstrado. And to sort of set the scene here, to this point with Dark Shadows, you've had many bosses, right? You've had, I would dare say Matthew Morgan was sort of a mini boss. Laura Collins, the Phoenix, is a main boss. Angelique in 1795, to me, main boss, because she's the one in control of what's going on. We meet Angelique again, only this time she's got a different name in Cassandra Collins. You might say, well, this is about Angelique. Nope, this is about Nicholas. It's just leading into Nicholas. And she's posing as this woman named Cassandra Collins, who marries Roger, who is a student of Professor Elliot Stokes. And you have this character coming to Collinwood, black hair. Laura Parker's wearing a wig, so which I thought her wig looked a lot better than what Maggie's did, in my opinion. But that's neither here or there. So Barnabas is trying to get rid of her. He knows it's Angelique. He's convincing Julia, hey, that's Angelique, and finally Julia believes him. So they decide to release the ghost of Reverend Trask, which is chained up in Barnabas's basement. At first, Reverend Trask goes after Barnabas because Barnabas is the one who put him there. Well, they find Barnabas and they sort of tell him, the person you want, the witch, is Angelique, is Cassandra Collins. Then that's when you see Reverend Trask's ghost go after her, and she's sort of burned on a tree. Now, deep down, Angelique is not gone. But you're sort of wondering, okay, how is this woman going to be brought back? And how did she even come back to begin with? You're sort of asking all these questions after she's gone. More so than when she arrived. You're sort of like, okay, maybe Angelique somehow brought herself back, but you're thinking, well, wait a minute. Somebody had put her portrait in an antique shop. Who did that? There's a knock on the door in Collinwood, and Nicholas, and they open the door, and it's Nicholas Blair. He says he is Angelique's brother, which he's not. What you learn from Nicholas, for the first time ever, Angelique has sort of been reduced to a mid-level boss. And you think, well, is Nicholas in charge of her? Nicholas is in charge of her to a degree, but here's the beautiful part of this. Nicholas himself is a mid-level boss. He's not a main boss. Sure, he's a villain, but he's in charge to an extent. Sort of the way Angelique was in charge to an extent when she first showed up, and now Nicholas has got to oversee everything by showing up. She made a deal with their master, the devil, and Nicholas is sort of the overseer of Angelique and what's about to happen, the dream curse and everything. Now, does Nicholas have his own agendas? Nicholas himself, at first, he does want Angelique to succeed, but then he starts seeing, wait a second, you've got feelings for this guy? No, but I will say, where Nicholas gets hypocritical is he falls in love with Maggie. But here's my defense of Nicholas. I think Nicholas was sort of wanting to be with Maggie to have a kid so they could sort of raise the child of Satan, if you will. But then Adam comes along. We know about Dr. Eric Lang's creation of Adam. And now his attention, Nicholas has a lot of moving parts here. There's Cassandra, who he has to deal with because she failed, Angelique. Now Maggie, who he is in love with, but he can't sort of be everywhere at once. He has Angelique now as a vampire, and she's sort of going off the rails to sort of dethrone him. I love this because Angelique never forgot really what she was trying to do, and she never forgave Nicholas as much as she hated Barnabas, or hated Barnabas in a sense, to curse him. She hated Nicholas, and because she felt Nicholas really caused her to fail, she wanted Nicholas to fail. So Nicholas's big mistake, to me, Nicholas's really downfall, as much as I know people are going to put it on Barnabas, it's not. To me, Nicholas's real downfall begins with Angelique being a vampire, and he feels he can just control her. But, and really his big hesitation too is him not staking her in the heart once it comes to the realization of, this woman isn't doing what I'm telling her to do. And I think that is now Nicholas does try to stake, but she moves her coffin. And because I know he tells Barnabas or somebody, but now it's like you can't. You now have failed yourself, and Angelique was somewhat punished, but he himself showed mercy on her by making her this vampire. I think that was really the beginning of his downfall. Now, again, I love the character introduction of him, of Nicholas Blair the Warlock. He's very cool, calm. He plays his cards beautifully with his facial expressions. Alan Humphrey Arstrado, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, does a beautiful job of just selling with his facial expressions and his body language. He can go from smiling to pissed off in a snap of a finger, and I love him for it. He is so good. It's criminally underrated what he does. And from his character standpoint, again, where I start is his biggest mistake is allowing Angelique to even be a vampire and exist, because she's looking to cause him to fail, really. And Adam, I do think, where do I think Nicholas won with the whole Adam thing? Do I think he sort of won Adam's conscience, sort of give a Geppetto reference? Because I would say there was many sort of angels on Adam's shoulder, and really who sells this beautifully is not just Alan, but is Adam himself, is Robert Rodin. And what I mean by that is, at first, Adam is learning from Barnabas and Julia, but then Willie sort of intervenes with how he treats Adam. Well, then he kidnaps Carolyn, but he has feelings for her. They put him in the room. Then Cassandra wants him dead because it can bring the curse. And that's sort of where Nicholas is intervening and sort of is teaching Adam a lot of the wrong things. So again, another sort of Geppetto, Jiminy Cricket, type character sort of on his shoulder. I said Geppetto, so I'm sorry for the mess up. But Jimmy Cricket character on his shoulder, sort of whispering in his ear, telling him the wrong things. Barnabas was trying to teach him the right things. Enter Elliot Stokes. Now, Elliot has already been there, been established as a character, but I dare say, to me, Robert Rodin really chose what Adam's fate really was. Adam's fate or destiny, whatever that is, wherever Adam is in life. Robert Rodin himself made that choice of where Adam went. And I think that's beautifully done. I do think ultimately he listened to Elliot Stokes more, but I don't ever think he forgot what uh, Alan's character taught him, what Nicholas Blair taught Adam. Again, there's a lot of moving parts with Nicholas's character, with the character of Nicholas Blair, because Nicholas has a lot of interaction with a lot of the characters, as he should, and it's just so beautifully done. I can't speak enough of. To me, he's one of the most interesting characters introduced in Dark Shadows because you know Angelique's not gone. But then when he shows up, you learn a lot of things. Number one, you learn Angelique just isn't there of her own admission. She's there because she made an agreement. And so she herself is now not just her own boss. She's a sub-level boss. She's been reduced to what she was really. And here's Nicholas sort of is overseeing her movements and what she's doing, but he himself is a sub-level boss because he's working for the devil. He sort of has to answer to somebody too. And when he fails, I love Jonathan Frid's smile when Nicholas Blair is sort of sent back to hell and destroyed. It's beautiful. You want to talk about just a beautiful performance of a character Alan does not get enough credit for. I think Alan, Robert Rodin, Laura Parker, Catherine Lee Scott, John Carlin, Jonathan Frid, Grayson Hall, all their chemistry really just gelled. I wouldn't when I look at Robert Rodin and I look at Alan Humphrey Alstrado, really the Adam arc is truly one of the most underrated arcs in the history of Dark Shadows. But if you pay attention to the moving pieces and the moving parts and Nicholas Blair himself and all the things that are going on, it's really something to be appreciated and should be appreciated. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I talked enough about Nicholas Blair. I know I talked about Adam as well, but to me, you can't talk about Nicholas and not talk about Adam and the things that are going on around Nicholas himself, because Nicholas has his fingers in a lot of pies. Again, once Angelique is sort of fades away into the old lady, she's made into a vampire. And Nicholas has to oversee that. So Nicholas, though Angelique is gone, Nicholas is still there. But then again, she's not totally gone because he has to oversee her in his house, and she seemingly has to answer to him again. But this time, she's not going to cave to his whims, and she's got her own little plot device cooking, which is beautiful. Beautiful job by everyone, the actors, the actresses. I mean, the direction, the storytelling. Dark Shadows really use the most of their characters to their imagination, and I love them for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hey, enjoy your weekend.